Zion Williamson played in his NBA debut yesterday. The Pelicans hosted the San Antonio Spurs. I watched the entire game. I had so much fun. It was an interesting night. I want to start with the way the night started at the very beginning. The Pelicans starting lineup was this. It was Lonzo Ball, Zion, Brandon Ingram, Drew Holiday, and Derek Favors. Notice they benched J.J. Redick to put Zion into the starting lineup. And I was really skeptical. I was like, really? Like, there's no way the Pelicans are better without J.J. Redick on the court starting. It just seemed wrong to me. And especially when I was watching the first half, I was like, this has got to be a mistake. Why is Zion the starter? Why'd you replace Zion? Why'd you replace Zion with J.J. Redick? It just felt weird to me. And that's because I was being impatient. You know, in the first half of the game, Zion had a really slow start. He was playing really conservative. He was just, in my opinion, trying to get by. It's his very first NBA game. It's the first half. He's trying to just get through the game and survive rather than trying to do his thing. And the coaching staff was pretty conservative, too. They really limited his minutes. He went in for, like, his first run in the first quarter he was in for 3 minutes and 51 seconds. In the second quarter, he went in for another, 4 minutes. And then they pulled him out. And so his halftime stats, he'd only played 8 minutes. And he had 2 total points. And you're like, oh, 2 points. It was mundane. He did nothing in the first half. I even wrote down on my notes, I said, in my notes, I wrote down, we might have to be patient and wait a game or two before he has an impact in the NBA because we just got to be patient. And ironically, I was actually wrong. I was very wrong. Zion had a crazy fourth quarter, which is like, what? It was so cool to me because it came out of nowhere, it felt like. At one point, he had 16 points in a row in the fourth quarter. He had multiple three-pointers. It was so fun to watch. I mean, I don't know. He scored at the rim. He had 7 rebounds, which means he was just great down low. He's a super good athlete. But then also, when he was left open from beyond the arc, he made a couple threes, and I was like, what? All right, Zion, this is pretty cool. The game wasn't really close. I mean, look, the Spurs, for most of the game, the Spurs were leading the entire game. For most of the game, they had a 15-point lead. At a couple points, they were back, 15. Sometimes the Pelicans would close it down to a 5-point lead. But during Zion's run, the closest the game ever got was during the fourth quarter when Zion Williamson was on his tear, scoring a bunch of points. He brought it all the way to a 1-point game for a brief moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, Zion is taking over this game. It was interesting because the Pelicans coach, Alvin Gentry, really kept trying and kept wanting to take Zion out of the game. It was the fourth quarter, but he kept scoring points, and the crowd was into it. The team around him loved it, and it's like, well, the guy keeps scoring and scoring. He literally scored 16 points in a row, and so they just kept leaving him in, letting him play a little bit longer. But in the end, first of all, Zion did finish the game with 22 points. He was 8 for 11 shooting. He was 4 for 4 from three-point range. He did have the 7 rebounds I mentioned earlier, and he did all that in only 18 minutes on the court, which is like, okay. So if he plays, you do the averages. That's that's more than a point a minute. It's pretty cool. But the Pelicans were really, really cautious. They limited his playing time. They limited his minutes a bunch. They really were conservative with him. And this is where things get, maybe a tad controversial. It's really up to you. I support what they did. But the Pelicans took Zion Williamson out of the game at the very end. The Pelicans had the ball. They were down 3 points with 5 minutes and 23 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And they took him out. And did it hurt their chances to win the game? Yes, absolutely. The Pelicans ended up losing the game 121-117. But I have no problem with their coaching staff and their franchise being conservative with their number 1 overall pick. You got to understand, there's a long-term plan here. You don't want to get caught up by a game, oh no, we might win a game in January, so we better risk our... Why go there? Zion Williamson is coming off of a knee injury. He's a rookie. He's new to there's no hurry here. Be patient. It's okay. There's so many future battles down the road. I really support the fact that the Pelicans were like, we're going to play it conservative. We're going to play it easy. Let him ease his way into the NBA. This is a game that we're not going to remember really in a couple years. I mean, it's sad they lost. It really was, because it would have been a cool way for Zion's first game to go. He comes in, has a crazy fourth quarter, wins the game. It could have been a storybook ending if they'd left him in. Maybe he could have won the game, maybe not. But this is a process, and I think everybody needs to be very patient with the process that's going on with Zion Williamson. I got to say, though, I'm super encouraged with the Pelicans just as a franchise. I mean, they had some great moments last night. I would call it like flashes of brilliance, where there are moments you're like, oh, wow, that's a great shot by Lonzo. That's a great pass by Zion. That's a great rebound. That's Brandon Ingram making a good play. Like, multiple moments. Josh Hart had a 3-pointer. I was like, that's a wow. There were just moments where like he had an and one early. I was just like, there were some moments where I was like, this is really like a young team on the rise. I mean, Lonzo looks way better than last year. Brandon Ingram he's emerged as a star. Let's just be honest. They got Josh Hart. They have Zion, the rookie. They also have a veteran, JJ Redick. They have, plus they have Drew Holiday. There's a future here. And the good news about the New Orleans Pelicans is that it's not all on Zion. They've really put him in a great situation where he can grow with his teammates and grow with the people around him. And that makes me so excited. I'm like, I just look at the Pelicans and I go, they're doing everything right. They're just headed in the right direction. Even taking their time and being patient with Zion. I just can't think of a scenario where you're like, it's bad to be patient. It's bad to slow down. When in your life did you regret being patient? I can't think of a moment where I just don't. Here's the risk. The risk is if you rush Zion back, you play him more than he's ready, you hurt his knee again. Why risk it? There's nothing wrong with being conservative. I just think everything the Pelicans are doing relating to Zion and just relating to the rest of their franchise is right. Again, Zion is the biggest, most popular player on their team. Biggest, we'll get into that in a minute. But it's a team effort here. And the fact that they've built a good, solid core of young players is like, you look at a team like the Atlanta Hawks, and the Atlanta Hawks they're built around Trae Young, and it's just Trae Young. That doesn't necessarily work. And look, the Pelicans are not an incredible team. I believe their record is now 17-28. Like, they got a ways to go, but it's a young core of players that are building something, and I just believe in it. I think they're doing the right stuff, and I have patience for the Pelicans. I'm excited to watch what happens. Again, you got to understand this too. Pelicans fans, I feel encouraged. The guy had 22 points in 18 minutes. And here's what's cool is Zion isn't even in great shape yet. I mean, it's pretty clear the guy, he needs conditioning, but he doesn't just need conditioning. He needs to lose weight. He needs to lose a couple more pounds. He'll be a lot more explosive if he does that. Right now on the roster, Zion Williamson is listed as 285 pounds. That would make him, if it's true, that makes him the third heaviest player in the entire NBA, which is absurd. The point is that I don't believe Zion is even operating at max capacity. There's more conditioning he can do. He could be in better shape. He can be maybe a little bit lighter, a couple pounds shed off to be easier on the knees. It seems like Zion just has a really bright future. I mean, if he could do that last night, 22 points, 18 minutes, clearly limited minutes. Clearly the first half he was very nervous and being pretty cautious and conservative, just trying to get by. In one half of, he scored 20 points in the second half. I mean, I'm telling you, and like 10 minutes, he played 10 minutes in the second half and scored 20 points. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant now. It just is like, it was fun, it was cool, and I'm telling you, I really believe there's a future here. And I just think they're doing the right stuff. They've got, again, teammates he can grow with. They're limiting his minutes. I am so excited, and I'm trying not to get overly excited, right? It's a long process. Zion is a rookie. I think a lot of people are probably, especially today in the media, because this is what the media does. They go, Zion, superstar. I take him. He's the best. Is he the best? Is that the best rookie debut in 20 years? Like, stop doing all that crap. Stop, overstating everything. It was just a really good game. It was a cool moment. He had a cool fourth quarter where things went right. But I do think this is the beginning of a good future for Zion. Let's not be crazy here. Let's not say it's the best. Why? I mean, that's what the media does to get clicks. I understand. But just, I am excited for this one thing. I want to watch the development of not only Zion. Again, this is a team effort, a franchise headed in the right direction. So I'm not only excited to watch Zion Williamson and his development, but I'm excited to follow and watch the development of the New Orleans Pelicans just in general. It's so much fun to me. I had a great time watching the game, and I'm excited to watch the Pelicans again moving forward.